Welcome to week 3 of Introduction to Spanish. Today we're going to be reviewing a little bit last week, AR verbs, conjugations, and ser and estar as well. So all things that we need to look over. We want to make sure that you're very comfortable with conjugations before we start talking about ER and IR verb conjugations as well. So I imagine you're probably a little frustrated if this is your first Spanish class trying to think about this, and it's particularly hard because we can't sit down in a regular classroom and talk about this. But we're going to go through it again today, and I think by the end of today, after this and the activity, even after the next 10-15 minutes, it's going to become a little clearer for you if it isn't already. So we're going to play with a new verb, trabajar, which means to work, and we're going to go through and conjugate that. Now again, going through, I highlighted, or I should say I bolded the endings that you are going to change these verbs into to conjugate them. So this is for regular AR verbs with the verb trabajar. You would take off the AR and you would add an O for the yo, an AS, an A, an amos, or an an. Again, I have that endings bolded. So let's go through, and I left a line to the right so you can write down what it is that we're saying when we conjugate this. So let's start at the top. Yo trabajo. I work. Tú trabajas. You work. Speaking to somebody informally, somebody you know, somebody younger than you. Él trabaja. He works. Ella trabaja. She works. Usted trabaja. You work. This would be somebody you're speaking to formally, somebody that you either don't know real well or is older than you or is your boss or something. Next one, nosotros trabajamos. We work. Ellos trabajan. They work. Ellas trabajan. They work if it's all girls. Ustedes trabajan. You all work. So try to write those down in English if you're still having trouble with this whole conjugation thing next to it, and then just take a step back and look at it. Okay, when I say yo and I conjugate something, I'm saying I, whatever the verb is, in the present tense. You're taking off that AR and you're adding something to it, in this case an O, if you're using the I form, the yo form. Okay, so that is how you handle present tense conjugations with that verb. And then there's a lot of verbs that work with this, what we're doing right now. There's irregular verbs, which we're going to look at in a second, a couple of them that are very common, but present tense regular verbs that are AR, this is what they look like. So whenever you see a verb in Spanish, it's going to end in an IR, ER, AR. If you see an AR verb, you can conjugate it like this, and 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, I guess I should say, you'll be right in the present tense. And then even if you mess it up a little bit, perfectly okay. The next one, ser and estar. We're going to go through those. We talked about the different uses for them. Ser, the first one that I have there, is used for permanent stuff, characteristics. If you're talking about a position of somebody or what they are, if it's a mother, or father, or doctor, anything like that, you would use ser. Or if it's a permanent characteristic of something, like a wall and what color it is, anything like that. So let's go through the conjugations real quick and look at them. And it's just like it is up above. Yo soy means I am. Tú eres means you are. Again, speaking to somebody informally. Él es, he is. Ella es, she is. Usted es, you are, speaking to somebody formally. Nosotros somos, we are. Ellos son, they are. Ellas son, they are. Ustedes son, you are. So when you say yo soy, now you know what it means. And then you would add anything that you needed to for that. So for example, yo soy Damian, I am Damien. And it's one way to say something, one way to say your name. Yo soy Damian. Yo soy maestro, I'm a teacher. So that's situations where this gets used. Soy alto, I am tall, I'm a tall person. I'm not really, I'm only 6 feet, but the next verb that we're looking at that's related to this is estar, which also means to be. So we talked about the different uses between ser and estar. The conflict that comes in because they both mean to be. Estar is used for location, like it is in the store or it is on the shelf, and condition, something that's temporary. First, like for example, I am sick. Now, if you say I am sick, it means generally I have a cold or I have a fever, whatever, and you'd use estar. It's a temporary situation. If you wanted to infer that somebody is a sick person, mentally ill, I mean it's part of their characteristic, they're just an ill person, then you would use ser. So some of these areas you can actually use either one and it just changes the feeling behind it, and we're going to look at that in the worksheet that we work with in a second. So let's go through the conjugations for estar real quick. Yo estoy, I am. Tú estás, you are. Informally. Él está, he is. Ella está, she is. Usted está, you are. Nosotros estamos, we are. Ellos están, they are. Ellas están, they are. Ustedes están, you all are. So right away you should be noticing the correlation between this and the one right up above. We're saying the exact same thing. In English there isn't a difference. In Spanish there is. So depending on which verb you use, it can change the meaning. So for this video we're going to go through the worksheet together because I want you to start working on listening comprehension. Hopefully you're still listening to your music. You've picked a song that you like or something to that effect. With this video and when you're doing the worksheet, you're going to try to work on listening to what I'm saying and trying to write down. Spelling is not so important right now. Just trying to kind of get down what it is that I'm saying and separating the words out, which comes with listening to the CD you have for the car, comes with listening to the music and going through the lyrics, things like that. So let's look at if you could pull out the worksheet now. It says week 3 review of ser and estar. AR verbs worksheet. This is all present tense stuff. So we're going to practice together the conjugation or conjugating verbs in the present tense. I have a short list of verbs that are AR verbs off to the right. Trabajar, to work. Mirar, to look at or to watch. Arreglar, to fix. Pagar, to pay. Comprar, to buy. Cerrar, to close. Okay, all those are AR verbs. So we're going to focus on some of those verbs and look at them and how they would conjugate. And we're going to focus on probably the first 5. Cerrar, we won't be working with so much this class. We'll be working in that another class. So let's start off. So I have a sheet set up here that we're going to be working off of, and you notice on the left hand side there's 3 different columns. There's a spot to put the subject pronoun, a spot to put the verb, and then in English, what does it mean? So I'm going to say a conjugation of one of these verbs. I will say the subject pronoun, which is the yo, the tu, the usted, the el, all that stuff, and then I'm going to say the verb conjugated. And I would like you to try to write down what pronoun I used, what verb I used. I'm only going to say them twice, although you can always repeat the video if you want, or scale it back, or kind of scoot it back a little bit if you need more repetitions. But then to the right you're going to write down what it means in English. So if you're starting to get the idea of what conjugations are, this shouldn't be too difficult. If you are still struggling with it, this might help you to work it out a little bit, actually having to put it into practice. Okay, so the first example is already there. Yo trabajo means I work. So I would say yo trabajo. You would write down yo trabajo, and then you would write down I work. You have the meanings over there. You just have to look at the pronoun and what it means. Okay, so let's go straight down the line, and I'm just going to conjugate at random some of these verbs and give you a chance to look at them. Okay, so we're going to just start with the next line. Nosotros pagamos. Nosotros pagamos. So take a second to write what I wrote down, and then after you're done writing them all down as we go through, you can go through and try to figure out what they are in English, or just write down. Shouldn't be super complicated. Next one down. Ella mira. Ella mira. The next one. Ellos compran. Ellos compran. The next one. Él trabaja. Él trabaja. The next one. Yo pago. Yo pago. The next one. Tú pagas. Tú pagas. The next one. Nosotros miramos. Nosotros miramos. And the last one we'll do today. Usted arregla. Usted arregla. So again, you can scoot the video back if you need to hear those again, but try to write down the pronoun and the verb as I've conjugated it, and then write it down in English to the right on what it means. Now, at your leisure, I'd like you to take just a few seconds and try to write a few sentences of your own. So bust out your dictionary, try to think of, you can use these verbs if you've learned a couple other verbs that you've seen along the way. You could use those verbs as well. But try to create a present tense situation. For example, you want to say, I eat a lot of watermelon. I'm personally a big fan of watermelon, so I want to write down, I eat a lot of watermelon, and look up how, take the verb, conjugate it appropriately, and then work off that. Again, there's a few verbs here. Try to focus on verbs that are AR for right now, and then next class we're going to look at ER, IR, and then you can learn how to use those verbs as well. So if you want to keep it simple, use pagar, I pay the bill, and just look up the bill, for example, anything like that. And try to write 2 sentences that you can send to me using your dictionary to look up some phrases. Now we're going to practice a little bit ser and a star and adjectives and other pieces as well. So I'm going to use conjugations of ser and a star here to, and you can see to the right I left the meanings there. You're going to try to do the same thing. You're going to write down what it is that I'm saying, filling in the slots. There's 2 blanks in each line. The first blank is for conjugating either ser or a star, so you'll want to have your sheet out that has those conjugations on it. And then the next one is going to be more than likely one of the adjectives over to the right. Okay, and this is going to help us to see the difference between the meanings between some of these things as well. So I gave you the first example, yo soy bonito. I am pretty. I am pretty by nature. I'm just a pretty person. So when I say that, you would write down soy and you would write down bonito. We'll go through that and we'll go through each one of the lines, and I will repeat each one twice. Okay. The next one down. El coche está bonito. El coche está bonito. So notice the difference in meaning. The first one is I am pretty by nature, and we use ser. The next one we use to star, and it means the car is pretty right now. It's currently in a pretty condition, kind of temporary. So changing, even though we're using the same adjective here, changing ser and a star can change the meaning. So just keep an eye on that as we go down and look at the versions in English and what the difference is in feeling between using ser and a star. So I'm just going to go straight through and pronounce them so you can write them down, and then you can take a peek at them. Yo estoy tranquilo. Yo estoy tranquilo. So you look up the spelling for that on the right hand side. So that last word I said, tranquilo, look at the list of adjectives, find it on there, and write it in. The next one, mi padre es tranquilo. Mi padre es tranquilo. The next one, la casa es limpia. La casa es limpia. The next one, la casa está limpia. La casa está limpia. Next one down. Nosotros somos grandes. Nosotros somos grandes. Next one down. Los niños están grandes. Los niños están grandes. Next one down. Tú estás alto. Tú estás alto. And the last one. Usted es alto. Usted es alto. So in a lot of those you saw them paired up, and I just changed between Sarah and a star. And you can see the difference to the right and how it changes the meaning. So take a second to look at that and kind of start to see, absorb that in. What's the difference between those two? Okay, so this is the worksheet that I need you to turn in with this video. I'll be posting another couple videos tomorrow. We have a few students from this class that are running a couple days behind, so I'm going to give you till next Tuesday to turn this in. I'll give you a few more videos tomorrow. We'll probably do a combined video to shorten it up a little bit, and then I'll do an additional video to go over some of the concepts. And we'll take it from there. Thanks, and I will see you later.